I've got one question for you before we dive into this, and it kind of comes back to one of the players I wanted to highlight a lot, which was Antoine Griezmann. And I know I've mentioned him earlier, but I think for me, there's a three-way split right now in terms of the Golden Ball potential winner, the best player at this tournament. And I know these are normally decided before the final game anyway, but in an ideal world, it might all be up for grabs between these three players: Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, and Antoine Griezmann for the title of the best player at the World Cup. But right now, if you had to pick right now, which the voters normally have to do anyway, so I can test you, starting with Nigel and working clockwise. So, Nigel, who, and you can pick someone other than those three, but who would you say has been the player of the tournament so far?
I would have to say Griezmann. I really have. I know people. The thing is, when you watch football, it's easy to look at the best player and say, "Oh, he's the superstar. He's the best player." There's so many hidden gems that you don't see and understand. And for me, when you look at Griezmann, what he's doing for this French team, how really and truly he's been the secret 007 for this French team. Griezmann for me is the one. He's not getting the glory. Yes, he's getting the assists, but all-round play, everything he's done has been absolutely sensational. And when you take into account the mud situation that he's in at Atletico Madrid, our producers team. I don't know why he supports Atletico, but they are absolute. We'll leave it there. But he's going through a tough time there. To come into a World Cup with that mindset and performing like this, it's sensational. And I'm only speaking from a player's perspective of being in that environment and situation. So Griezmann for me.
I'm surprised, Nigel. One, your position, you didn't rate Tchouaméni higher than that. I mean, he's been
Tchouaméni's been, yeah, but the difference is Tchouaméni's young, he's sensational, he's playing at Real Madrid, he's $100 million kid, he's performing at Real Madrid. Griezmann's coming from a very tough situation at Atletico Madrid, where they've been doing poor domestically, poor in the league, and you look at how he's performed, and Joao Felix is performing for this World Cup, and they haven't performed like that for Atletico. It's such a tough mindset to come in that environment and going into a World Cup and just performing like that. It just shows strength of character and the quality of player he is.
Yeah, but I'm disappointed in you. You just slapping your position for fun. I think Lionel Messi is who the media are going to be putting forward for Golden Ball. I don't think he is the best player of the tournament right now, but I think just with the stats and him carrying all this pressure and the weight of a country and the weight of Diego Maradona trying to be the greatest Argentine player of all time, but also the greatest player of all time, to have that World Cup trophy. I think that's what's going to push the media to say it's easy. It's Messi. But if France do win the title, I think Mbappe gets the Golden Ball. Not so much because of his performances every game. I mean, he's shown obviously his phenomenal quality, but I think it's just because of how he's been able to change the game and force teams to play differently, force teams to defend him with 3 or 4, as you saw today. Morocco had 4 players around him, and that's why his deflected shot was easy for a tap-in. But I just think with his ability, he's such a special player that he's shown enough to say he's the best player on that team. He's the best player on the field, especially if he has a memorable moment in that final that is a game-changing and gives France the title. I think Mbappe gets the Golden Ball for me.
Yeah, I agree with Charlie that I think that Messi and Mbappe are probably, the 2 most narrative-rich players to look at in terms of the award. But I agree with Nigel. The thing is, Griezmann, would many people have sat up and taken notice of how he's been performing if he hadn't got that pair of assists against England? You could perhaps debate it, but the fact is he was already leading the tournament in terms of chances created coming out of the group stage, and that included one, defeat for France in a game where Griezmann started on the bench anyway. So I think, really, if we're really breaking it all down in terms of, what an achievement it is to have Griezmann performing at this level and even being in the conversation, with Mbappe and Messi, I think is a huge achievement. But for me, I don't think that France get to this final, without Griezmann being in the form he's in. That's why I would place him just slightly higher than Mbappe in terms of his importance for France. I agree with Charlie that, Mbappe has been, crucial, but I don't know. It just feels for me like Messi is almost doing the role of Mbappe and Griezmann for Argentina, whereas you've got one of each, for France. And I think that's why, France will now be such a threat for Argentina in this final. But if you were asking me just personally to pick the best player, and I had to pick before the final, then I'd go for Griezmann.
Yeah, I'm going to side with my House of Champions family on this one.
Oh,
Charlie as
Yeah.
well.
Oh my God.
Hi, Charlie.
My man
Well,
got
I mean,
five
no,
goals,
wait.
Charlie.
and
No,
two
I'm not.
assists.
That way,
I'm not
Stop
going to side with my House of Champions family. Jude Bellingham. Who cares? Let's give it Jude Bellingham. Right. We will have a full preview pod on Friday where we're going to dive deep into the matchups. We're going to look at every angle of this Argentina versus France game. But maybe we could start with a few initial thoughts. I know where mine are. Mine are squarely focused on Theo Hernandez. I thought he was, from the moment he scored that goal onwards, I thought he was a real problem for France, especially, I mean, admittedly, Hakim Ziyech and Achraf Hakimi are going to ask you anyone questions, aren't they, playing at this level? But can Theo Hernandez slow down the likes of McAllister and Messi and who knows, maybe Di Maria? JJ, having watched that game, kind of, and with a little bit of an emotional investment, where are you thinking you need France to improve if they're to beat Argentina?
I mean, I think we need to see more of that defensive grit and determination, that ability to dig deep, put everything on the line. I mean, I think there must be a temptation to, perhaps hook Hernandez, especially if France get into a leading position and maybe try and go for that flat back four of central defenders. Because let's not forget, Koundé has been playing at right back all tournament, but he is a central defender by trade. You also have to wonder if Upamecano comes back in after that. I have to be honest, I think Konate sort of lends himself to being more of a natural partner for Varane than Upamecano. Upamecano's looked quite jittery, so perhaps he'll be an unlucky victim of that illness that befell him just before this game. But I'm still going to go with my pre-tournament prediction of Argentina winning, but I don't think it'll be a comfortable win. I think it'll be, by a goal. And to be honest, I could easily see France grinding out a win by 1 goal as well. It's really that close. I'm going to need a couple of days to stew over this one properly. But I do think that France need to continue, this good run of defensive form that they've built up, if they're to stand a chance of beating Argentina.
Charlie?
He's still stewing. He's still hurting about being the odd one out. It's all right, Charlie. You get over it, mate. You grow thick skin.
Yeah,
right.
I got the thick skin. All right, I'm gonna go with France. France win this because you look at those matchups and sure, if Morocco had somebody who could have that end product, and I just don't think they got in those good positions. But Ziyech was rubbish when he got into the final third today.
Just rubbish.
He was just rubbish. I thought you might like that. But I think Argentina gives too many opportunities away, especially the space, and they allow those 1v1 situations where Croatia might not hurt you with that pace. Ivan Perisic is more of a player who's going to come inside and create those mismatches, especially in crosses situations. With Dembele and Mbappe, it's a different proposition. France can concede possession. They can invite you in. They can say, hey, sure, today was poor from them overall with the possession, but today in the final they could say, Argentina, come. We will handle. We'll mark Messi. We'll do our due diligence, and then on the counter we will hit you. And in this World Cup, all you need is that one chance, and France could win this game 1-0. So for me, it's going to be the French that raise that trophy.